You know what?
Yeah.
Let's.
I'm taking inspiration from Haps notes. That's it.
Well, let's take a look at our map ban in this series. Again, it's a best of one series, similar to the EU League, no overtime, and the likes Cafe Dostoevsky, who banned Oregon. Lowland Lions, which means that they're my favorite team now. Now, banning out theme park to cafe. What are we looking at strategically speaking here for Cafe Dostoevsky, James? Because we're kind of trying to figure out what sort of operators sort of mesh, just like we did in Clubhouse.
Yeah. The thing I find interesting is, I mean, I've trawled through some map bans from Lowland Lions in the Benelux Season 5 and the Challenger League as well in Season 11, and they banned Cafe as their most banned maps 23 times. They've only played it one single time, and that was recently against Sector 1, now August, and it was a win just in the Benelux Grand Final. But that is the only info that Granit will have on this map, and honestly, with how much Lions have banned it, I feel like Granit's probably not expecting to go here.
Are you trying to say here that Granit are going to have a tough time? Is it going to be
hard?
Do they need to be hard as rock for this matchup here?
Yeah, see what you're doing, Milos. You're not funny.
I was trying to think of a like a sediment or something kind of joke, but anything I'm thinking of is just crumbling to pieces.
Geo Collins.
I just never thought I'd ever find myself on a broadcast where someone says, I was trying to think of a sediment kind of joke. Oh, good lord.
All right, well, you know, I can just get past this awkward moment and talk about the map again, because look, Cafe, we have seen from both of these teams, right?
I think that'd be best.
They lost it to Chaos, Granit lost it to Chaos, so
look,
7-4 against them. There's a bit of info on both sides of the thing here, but I think Lowland Lions have hidden a lot of their strategies for it.
Let's see how this all goes. It's crazy to think that Gio believes that she's funny, but that's another question.
I never said I was, I said you weren't.
Fair enough.
I can see.
Fair enough. I would like to see you be funny one day.
One day.
One day.
It'll happen.
Let's get to our match. Please get me out of here. Throw me out the window. Let's pass it over to our match, Lowland Lions versus Granit Gaming. Who is it other than Hap and Dez? Very biased in their own points of view, some would say. Who knows? Let's see what they have to say about our matchup. Go ahead.
Oh, man. Hap. This has basically got me and you written all over it. You've got yourself as the shield for Lowland Lions. You've got me for Granit, who I've got 2 Brits on, maybe 3 if you're counting Badger, and the fact that I've cast them for all of the Nordic Championship. This is what it comes down to. Maybe if it was LLL versus M&M or something like that, it'd also count, but this will do me for an opening game between these 2 teams on Cafe. Truthfully, coming into today, everyone who's making predictions, you're a little bit tapped, I think. Wait and see how the first day of games go, because Winstrike have already shown, and Fedora, to be fair, that there is so much to be seen here in Challenger League. This game, I'm sure, is going to be packed full of surprises as well.
Yeah, we have to wait indeed and see how these teams will be going up again one another. And as was said before on the desk, for example, the Lions, they have been able to basically hide everything since Benelux Season 5, which ended a couple of months ago, whilst Granit was still, well, busy trying to get that spot in their hands, having to go up through the Nordics. So there is a bit known on Granit, not so much in the new Lions lineup, with Panics joining the roster finally, because that's an interesting point. During Season 9, I believe it was, Panics already trialed right before joining BDS for the core of the Lions. That back then it went really well, but, you know, buyouts and stuff like that probably were the reason why it didn't happen. And now he's finally joining them after, well, his failed run with Na'Vi, you can almost say. Will it work out? That's the question.
Well, Avashi's already telling the world that all the homies hate Hap, so that's something that you were very liked in your scene.
I mean, he said, "I love you," though, like in Dutch afterwards, or something like that.
Well, that's a word only. That's a language only you and him are going to understand. I think the rest of the world looks on at Dutch as some mythical, ancient transcript that no one could ever possibly understand or determine in any way what the actual intent of the words are. If it's like French or Spanish, maybe I can get it. There's some words in there that look pretty familiar. Dutch, nah. Another territory altogether. Bans are through anyway. Thatcher, Mira, Ace, and Wamai. The sort of things I think we're expecting to see across most competitions. We've seen them in EUL and APAC pretty much all week. And end does you mean to go on, I guess, or end does you mean to start, given how CLXI played out for LLL. It's going to be a Vaj heading over onto the Monty to kick things off in kitchen and service defense on the downstairs of Cafe.
We'll be 6 picking it out for now, of course. Wouldn't be showing his secret weapon straight away. And saying like, hey, you know what, I'm going to play Monty, not even going to 6-pick it out. Forcing that Legion, of course, to come out and stay out for Granit Gaming. Not going to be as impactful now, considering the fact that the shield is gone. And thus, the Nomad will be there to deny any flanks, just to make sure that these members of Granit are not going to be... Okay, that's an early one. I think Madman might have crashed indeed, because he was standing still looking at a corner right there.
Yeah, not much he can really do for himself there when he stood there on his one down towards the bottom. We'll get ourselves into a rehost ever so shortly and then get back into game once again. I imagine with the same operator picks and the same site coming through. But I guess it's worth us touching on Granit really quickly here while we have a bit of time. They were a team that in the Nordics came in at the very start of it, and everyone was talking about other teams in the competition, of course, alongside Chaos. But I think very quickly they established themselves as the dark horses in that competition. And bar a very, very small lull in the middle of the competition between weeks 8 to 10, they have been a very dominant force that very few could actually see a way to. So I'm really hopeful that given the consistency we saw from them throughout most of that 14-week season, that's going to carry across here. And with the prep time they've put in as well, they could surprise a few people here, because I keep on seeing them in the bottom half on these prediction lists. But I've seen what they can do. I've watched them for 14 weeks, boys. I know what they can do, and I've got faith.
I have to say, like, I'm Loki was a big fan of them as well when they just started out, because they started out with Eastwood, Stead, Badger, and JTC. All four of those players played the Benelux season prior to it, so I was familiar with them. And I was like, you know what, I'm gonna shout for these guys in the Nordic Championships. Hope they take that spot, because I'm gonna be at least able to, you know, put a little bit of Benelux stamp on top of it. Snurrer said he would agree with it.
Lions, and you're just like,
now they're up against it. Now you have to lose. This one you can lose, but afterwards you can win everything else.
Can't do much else. Yeah, the thing is, I've really enjoyed watching them because they've really started to establish their identity as a team. Eastwood, I've always regarded, I know you're a fan of him as well. He's kind of the consistent player who, between most rounds, you'll find walking away with a kill or two. You've got Oscar, who every few rounds just thinks, all right, I'm done my nap now. It's time to play some Siege, and walks away with 2, 3, if not 4 kills for himself. And then looking towards players like JTC and Badger, been prolific themselves. And Madman being the most recent addition to the team, joining them midway through the season. If you're from the UK, you know this name. He's been around the scene for quite a while now. He himself has come in and brought a lot of zest to the backline, to the more supportive side of the team. So again, really excited to see what they can bring forwards. However, as you keep on saying, they are against a very, very powerful team here in Lowland Lions, who, if not for some choice words in all chat, I imagine, at the end of last season, and if not for Secret snatching the spot away from them, they could be the EUL team that we'll be speaking about throughout the majority of this week, and no doubt going into future weeks as we keep on covering those EUL days.
You're kind of like the bad guy at this moment in time, right? Even R6 Unfortunate Events has, you really got a Windows in their description of the bio, you know? So the word stuck. They are there, and they will be there to be seen into, well, basically the end of Siege, probably. It's just they have been in Challenger League. This is their 4th season in Challenger League now. It's about time they're going to be making it. Otherwise, I mean, how much longer are they going to stay here? Because they are basically the uncontested best team in the Benelux. So even if they don't make it now, they're basically going to find themselves in, you know, next season anyway. So they're going to have these infinite amount of shots at the actual getting of EUL nowadays, it seems like.
I guess the real horrible thing is for them, as many times as they might have tried, last season was their best hope, I think, because coming into this season, without Next One and Crying, that prolific duo that we now see starting to tear the scene up for Chaos, who already look like a far more improved team than they did before, Panix and Astro really the answer there to fill in that massive void left by those two players. Personally, I'm not so convinced.
Now the thing is, you had Next One and Karine who went onto those straggler roles, but prior to that we had a Fudge and Deepak who could do the exact same thing. So maybe moving back to their old ways, how they did it in the 2 seasons prior to that, basically for the entirety of Benelux, is going to be what they exactly need. Moving back Panix, get Astro back in as well, and you're finding yourself with a rounded up lineup again. Rounded off line, yeah, full lineup again. There we go. English is hard sometimes. So like they have everything they need. And of course, there is some doubts about, well, will the Nationals be as competitive as the previous season of Challenger League? Because the last season was super competitive. We cannot forget that. I think it will be as competitive, if not even more competitive, because a lot of these teams haven't met each other. But I think Lowland Lions and Penta, as the true experienced teams, will have a big advantage over over the rest of the teams.
I think there's definitely that piece to it as well, but again, changes coming in for Lowland Lions. We know with Penta, things didn't sound so rosy a couple of weeks back. They are still here, so nothing really worth getting too focused on right now, but if nothing else, you're going to see a lot of fresh talent coming up, I think, here. And I was speaking to Bugs, actually, the coach for the Izuko Boars earlier on, and he was saying 3 of the guys in this team, you haven't seen them outside of tier 4 before. They've messed around there, but you've never seen them step into tier 3, let alone tier 2. And 2 of them have only just turned 18 years old, to give you some reasoning for that. So it's not like it's old seasons where it's the old same faces playing and you already know you're better than them. It's not just that. There's a whole bunch of fresh faces now in the scene with fresh gun skill. Kids these days just seem to get better and better. So I'd be pretty worried coming into this if I was Lowland Lions, to be completely honest with you. It's going to be the toughest season yet, as every season will continue to be compared to the previous one.
It wasn't it like the kids aren't getting better, we're just getting older and everybody else seems to be getting quicker responses? Like, wasn't that the tweet we had, Dan?
Something like that. Something like that. The kids are all getting better, mate. They're just getting better at video games. They pop out the womb and the first thing they're doing is picking up a control pad and jumping into a game of Siege. It seems to be the case.
And like they're already uploaded with all the Siege data to know exactly what every operator does.
They've been
they don't even need to go for the
9 months in the womb, basically.
Yeah, basically, you know, and we all know what that will be able to give you. Immense fragging power. And I have to say, the Polish scene does look kind of scary when you look at it, considering the fact that in the Open qualifier, or back at the EUC qualifier even, they were consistently knocking out all these teams, like, you know, even this the existing Challenger League teams, and like a lot of high national teams as well, because of the highly aggressive play. And if they're going to be continuing that into Challenger League, well, there has been some time now to prepare yourself for that, because you know that there is going to be a Polish team into the mix, but are they going to be totally ready? That is the big question.
Remind me of, because I was never once able to say it, and I know that you can, the original name of Lowland Lions before they were Diffuse Kids.
Tusk Gaming?
No. Begins with G. That's the one. I have no idea how to say that word.
Yeah. It's amazing. Everybody spams it as soon as they hear it. Who colonized it is?
No, I have no idea.
It means colonized.
By the way, I remember at the time they were regarded as this very kind of aggressive team, the team that many would turn around and say didn't really play with much strategy to their gameplay. It wasn't really true. It was more like chaotic strategy, right? It was more about being the ones who can run around and cause chaos for the team. Ironically enough, 2 of their members are now on Chaos. Go and figure, there's a storyline for you. We're back into game, mind you. Round number 1 coming up once more due to that small rehearse we had to go through just a second ago. Going to be the same changes and picks coming through downstairs in kitchen, cooking and service.
All right, there we go. Madman again putting down that bulletproof. Last time he did that, he crashed. He did not this time. All right, that's already profit. Avoid saying have fun, I guess. He's not completely sure about it. He basically wants to slap them out of the server. We all know it. He's the kind of guy to take the opportunity to talk trash in the chat as soon as he can.
He's the villain of Siege. Like, Fabian's bad, and then you get a Vice.
A fight is a whole tier above that.
Yeah. He is. It's probably for the best that he hasn't made it to EUL so far. We'll see if that changes with the season. Started this round, nothing too big to shout about, but what we are seeing is a couple of roamers coming out for the side of Granit. I think there's 2 of them on the middle floor, and we also had the Valkyrie up on the top floor. GTC now dropping back down, Madman still heading upstairs, so maybe this is trying to play the map. Waste a bit of time by forcing Lowland Lions to engage them on these top floors, kill some drones on your way back down, and just try and make it so that when it comes to the execute inside of Kitchen, there's not enough time left alive for Lowland Lions to be able to achieve very much.
Really triggered by the fact that Astor actually put his name into all small letters now instead of all caps, which it used to be before.
The man likes to keep it fresh.
Gotta keep it fresh sometimes. Just stay up to date. As the Lions are trying to take that top floor control first. A bit of an angle being created into the piano as Badger just holding tight in the cocktail lounge. Surely soon we'll be receiving some pressure from Lowland Lions.
That air jab.
Yeah, got eaten by an ADS there. That's unfortunate. Probably not intended. As Astro, the first one to enter now, trying to go for the hunt on that Jaeger.
Yeah, Badger is holding off back towards the far side, and again, it's all about this time-wasting game. And you've got Deeper playing up on the East Rappel at the same time, trying to contest, and they're just making sure he's most definitely gone by droning him down, but every single step of the way he's holding a little bit closer. Madman looking to try and collect as many drones as he can. They've only found 2, maybe 3 so far. So Lowland Lions doing a good job to preserve it whilst collecting the information, but I touched on that time, down to half the round gone, and they've only just about got control of the top floor, and now starting to look at control of the second floor where Badger is still roaming.
There we go, Astro quickly dropping down, taking care of the cam, and will be creating a big line of sight as well. So Vaicha and Deepak both will be able to pick up 1 kill. Very good start here for the Lions, as they start off with clearing out those roamers quite effectively. Only Oscar is going to be left up there, though, but it seems like they are aware as Astro and Avage, actually Avage might not be aware as he's droning in the middle of the engine room.
They've lost 2 on the roam here, makes it so painful. They lose another one this round, it's pretty much done. And Oscar's playing on the smoke is probably the worst part. He will try and play nice and aggressively. Oski, he doesn't know. He doesn't know. Pepe laughed. Now he knows for sure as Oscar's put a bullet in his head. That suddenly is going to turn this into a bit of a spiral downwards because now they're not going to kill him in order to recover the diffuser. They can't just ignore him. Oscar snaps onto Astro's head and brings him down. Will finally get traded out, but that is sure to put a bit of a spanner in the works here. Yes, it makes it a 3 versus 2, but there is 35 seconds to play with, and they've only just started in getting this floor destroyed.
That is the danger of not droning out properly, and that means there's going to be a bit more pressure right now as a vertical angle being created. A beautiful shot from Deepak, able to take down Eastwood right behind the bomb chassis. And it's up to JTC now in a 20-second ticking down clock. He's going to be giving his position away as he's trying to pre-fire through the vertical angles. Goes for a quick reload, but Panics is already inside. He's going to be going for that plant. The C4 will not hit, and that means 45 seconds will be on the clock soon. JTC able to pick up the first kill. Is the cover there? Is the question. He needs to go for the reload. He does not know where he is, and the countdown started. 45 seconds, and I know exactly he is inside the freezer now. All they have to do is hold out these angles, and there we have it. From above. Able to take down JTC. The Lowland Lions will be able to take down round number 1 and start things off strong.
Well, that was a scrappy affair in round 1, and Granit getting out in the map and looking to cause some trouble. Lowland Lions not getting caught out by any of the roamers except for us because they didn't drone him out. But the first 2 they found, like I mentioned, those 2 kills falling your way, that's normally a time where, as the roamers, you say, right, it's time to get back into sight here. We lose this 3rd member. We are absolutely done for. And at the most, you can probably hope for a trade. To find 2 kills for Oscar was not a bad start, but it did leave them in this numbers disadvantage on the site once the execute came around, even if it had to be rushed a little bit due to where the clock currently sat. It would have been a messy affair if that C4 had caught Panics, but manages to put it off, rotate round, and Avaish is finally the one to collect the closing kill. First round going their way, as you say. Next site we head to is the top floor. So you're not going to see this extensive roam game, but I'm keen to see how horizontally Granit set up here. What do they do inside of storage? They drop a shield down and open up most of that freezer wall, or do they just not even bother and say, you know what, reinforce the whole thing, electrify it, mute jammer it, whatever we got to do, look to play something more aggressive. And in fact, with this castle being brought along and where the current castle wall has been placed, this looks like a cigar hole to me.
It has to be indeed. You're going to be setting up from Cigar exactly as Maddox is portraying now. But we also see the shield coming down inside the pixel corner with an ADS there to back it up. It's a Goyo one. Will not be as safe to actually play behind. As Oscar with a very important double kill you just saw on the replay. Unfortunately not winning the round, but if they would have won that round, it's definitely because of that double kill.
It's unfortunate. If they maybe hadn't lost the 2 prior to that, then 100%. But it was more of a mistake on Lowland Lions side than so much lots being done by Granit. That's a mistake again in the misdroning. We'll see if this round that gets corrected. They've got the castle barricade set up on the white stairs window at the same time, just to make sure they have that. So his requirement for some utility to be wasted, mainly looking towards a breach charge from the IQ, I'd expect. Or at least initially starting off on the top floor, making sure these hatches can be opened up. So if the team choose to drop in here and try and take control of Cigar, that's definitely going to be the starting point. You mentioned about these Goyo shields being dropped in. It's Madman playing up nice and close again, just looking to waste time. And maybe that is part of Granit's starting defensive strategy, is see how low we can run the clock to try and force them to make mistakes later on in the round.
It's an interesting one as we see Badger going for a bit of a rotate. Not sure what Deepak... Oh, he's actually opening up the hatch to try and go for the hunt. So they are aware that Badger is roaming. They're trying to find out where he is now. Opening up onto the freezer as well. One is on the stairs. Astro is there. They know certainly that he has to be in VIP right now. This is some good information coming out. And some very active hunting as well. As the stun is not going to be able to get the kill. And Astro will. And that is the opening here for Lowland Lions.
Interesting they commit so much as well, just completely bail on the top floor to begin with and just head completely onto the downstairs to go and collapse onto Badger. But the right call, else you know full well he'd be at white stairs later into the round and looking to catch out a member or 2 of Lowland Lions. So with that pressure removed, they can turn their focuses back towards the top floor. It does feel like they aren't too afraid of wasting, well, not wasting, but committing time early round to not focusing on the site, but instead going for the roamers, looking to clear things out, and playing with a bit more time sensitivity later on. We've seen a good number of teams this week across both EU and APAC that are very time poor. So that's the one thing I'm being very conscious of for the Lowland Lions here, is how effective can they be with what little time they have remaining afterwards.
Oscar trying to go for a C4 that will go through and get the kill. That is Panic staking out. Unfortunate for him. They're slowly setting up here. An impact coming through, but Deepak not able to land the kill. Not even a single point of damage being done on the player playing in Cocktail. Astro goes down as well by Madman. And this is looking like Granit Gaming is putting back under pressure as Madman dropped all the way downstairs to try and secure that kill. We'll have to come up at some point again. It might have been a jump out, not sure actually, because he... Oh, I was going to say he ended up in the basement, but not sure how he got there.
I don't think Oscar expected to find a second person playing on the same window he just C4'd someone off of, so gets caught out himself. Puts into a 3 versus 3, but this is that time sensitivity I mentioned here. 15 seconds to go. JTC striking big from inside a bathroom. Avaj on the window. That's the second window kill this round for the Lowland Lions as they commit everything to now going on the rappel in just 3 seconds to go, but they get shot from downstairs. There's a C4 in hand. Don't think they'll catch the final one as that's going to be in the wrong place. JTC walks in, knights out Leonski. That'll be round number 2 going the way of Granit after what felt like a bit of a cat and mouse chase around the entirety of Cafe.
Definitely felt like I really like the early ways how they actually went for the roam clear, right? Because it's not often we see so much utility being used to clear out a single player who's hiding all the way downstairs. Normally you'd see a flank hold or anything like that, but Cafe, of course, a map where a lot of opportunities arise to try and get back upstairs. You're not really going to be able to hold 3 staircases. So they went for the hunt and they decided we should have enough information after or time, which they did not. Granit Gaming really able to just tuck themselves in there really well and make sure that Lowland Lions was basically forced to jump the gun, forced to just basically force themselves onto the site.
And defuse as many bombs as they can.
It'll take some time, just forcing the time or the clock to run down. Probably won't have so much enjoyment here on this site. On the ground, on the bottom floor inside a kitchen, you have to clear both the 2 floors above. On the top floor, as we saw in the last round, Lowland Lions wanted to commit to dealing with both floors below them before even looking towards bar and cocktail. Here on reading, it's a little bit of a more, air quotes, casual affair, I guess. My God, Oscar's having a wonderful time catching these drones. That's 2 for himself now. But it's more around, again, the fact that there aren't 2 floors to clear. Sure, there's above and below. For the most part, you're just going to focus on taking the upstairs, looking to clear the floor up there, make use of those vertical holes, and then use that to commit to a plant. So keep an eye here on how long Granit can hold onto the top floor until they look to peel away and try and play behind C4s and any other manner of paraphernalia they may have brought to try and deal with them.
Another rehost being called here by the Lowland Lions. It's the second one so far. But yeah, 1-1 right now to score. And can we just quickly appreciate that C4 we just had? It's an absolute beauty to come through. Perfectly hit. And there we go. Back to us.
To blow it the right way, I'm guessing you meaning there, the one coming out of Oscar?
Yeah, that one. Onto Panix, which was onto the window, just far enough out to basically hit him wherever he was. Just get rid of that window. It was a beautiful C4, beautifully tossed. You just saw in the replay earlier on as well.
I guess the problem there is you kill one, it's like an army of zombies. Another one appears on the window 10, 15 seconds later and kills Oscar, who got that initial C4 kill. Unfortunate, but these things happen. It does leave us at 1 apiece, and I think we've seen from both teams a little bit already to suggest how they're taking this game on. You can see Granit trying to play this roam-heavy game where Lowland Lions are then saying, you know what, we'll take that raise, we'll go for these fights, and so far I've been doing very well on them. Collecting 2 of the roamers in round number 1. Mistake, of course, in trying to clear out the third led to them losing 2 members, and then in the next round, clear Badger out with very little difficulty. So I understand that Granit are trying to waste time here, but I feel like they've got to start hitting some of these shots to make these roams worth it. People often say that roams are mainly more for that clock piece. You're forcing mistakes later in the round because there isn't enough time. But I'm also thinking, if you've got some gunners out there, a Jaeger, for example, you're really kind of hoping they're going to find something for the team in those early stages of the round.
Like, if you're not going to be able to find anything, it will be taken down in the first minute, then it's probably better to be a bit closer to the side where refrag potential, is possible, or you're going to be able to, well, tuck yourselves in so well that there's basically nothing they can do as they're just not able to get through. Because if you use that ADS as well, for example, they're not going to be able to, dislocate you with grenades, for example. Unless they just waste a lot of time and utility beforehand, and that means that utility cannot be used for the eventual take right after. So there's 2 ways of going at it. You're either tucking yourself in on side and try and be as passive as you possibly can, or you're on the roam. You got to be constantly on the move and make sure that you're not being taken down until, at least that 1 minute 30 mark, or make a big impact while doing so.
Absolutely. And by the way, I just totally clocked as I looked across at our preview. This is my duvet. My old duvet. It shouldn't be there. It should be like this. I'm currently in the back room of an office where there are 4, 5, 6 white walls, whatever. There's a weird corner. And because there is no carpet and no pillows and no nothing, sound bounces around like an absolute nutter. It's ridiculous. I literally have to have this on the door to absorb the sound, else you just hear horrific echo through the microphone. This is like cheap level acoustics, ladies and gents. This is what I've got to deal with in this office.
You just hang something over the door. That's all you need to do, you know? Just a bit of textile.
Just get your quilt and throw it over. It's a real nice quilt, to be fair. It's nice to turn every now and just stroke it and be like, oh, it's a nice duvet. Yes. And then back to the game.
Just like a pet, you know, like you would pet your dog or you pet your cat, just to get that bit of relaxation.
I don't have the big white fluffy dog anymore. It's my mum's, so I don't live with him at the minute.
Oh, you didn't bring it?
He is going to come and stay with me on weekends, so I think it's going to be okay.
That is good. Yeah, I was going to say, like, you better still be able to visit Kato.
I need a good cuddle from that puppet every single week.
I have 2 dogs myself. They're great. Can't wait. No, you always need a dog in your life.
Would they be barking if they were in the room right now?
No, I don't think they would actually. No, my
even
dogs
when you
don't bark
shout
that
and get
much.
excited? Because you should be getting excited.
They don't really bark. They don't really bark. Yeah, we're going back into game. We're excited, but they don't really bark about
that. They don't bark thing, aren't you?
No, they don't bark. Sometimes. All right.
Are you sure that you are very defensive about the fact they don't bark?
I know, right? It doesn't make well of a case for me. It's like, you know, it's Hap is the imposter. No, I'm not the imposter. What do you mean? I'm just at cards or something. You know, like it doesn't help if you're getting too defensive.
Just cards, yes.
Yeah.
Have you done your admin card yet?
What?
What do you mean? What?
I didn't know what you said.
Card? Please tell me.
Yes, I did the swipe. No worries. I did it. Don't worry.
Good. Okay. Radio. As said, reading and fireplace. The next site we head to. Going to be a focus on the upstairs for Granit, I think, to hold this one off for a short while. This is what the most common sort of setup you see from a lot of teams is you look to hold the top floor as if you were defending the top floor. You don't commit as much resource to it. It's often why you'll see teams open up the freezer wall to play behind a shield and look to contest inside a piano, waste time for the attackers where they can't comfortably take control of piano to start their assault from. And it looks like here with Oscar scattering these pests down and around, that seems to be the focus on trying to deny as much as they can from the west side. May even look to see someone like Madman playing up nice and close with a shotgun.
The opportunity indeed. Drones being recovered. As you said, something Lowland Lions has a lot of value. Ooh, you see this? You did see the C4?
Oh no! God. Alex! No.
He lives. All right, he lives. Doesn't have to use the breaching charge after all. We've seen it happen.
We saw that earlier this week, by the way, inside of UCL. Who played it? It was Secret, I think, who played on Cafe. I can't remember. Was it?
It could be. I know it happened. I just don't know who it is anymore. And
I think it was Rogue. I may be wrong.
Could be. We'll have to check back on that later. But the hatch was opened up. Unfortunate also costed a breach charge and about 50 HP of panics. There's a hack drone there quickly dispatched by Deepak. They have to go to the floor below. Another C4 coming out. A bit of an opening will be created, but it will be shot by Deepak. So no impact coming through. The shotgun shot came through. That basically gave away the plan. And as JTC picks up a Vich, it is Granit Gaming that gets the better of them in this opening part of the game.
The early tussle, a couple of C4 attempts coming out, one onto the hatch, one straight into Cigar. So it's a warm welcome into the map, should we say, from Granit against Lowland Lions. And this aggression, I wouldn't say is something that Granit have ever really been super renowned for. Sure, they can gun like the best, but I'd say playing aggressively across maps has never been something I've really identified as a key strength of theirs. But here, at least, looking to employ it. Leon's just going to balance things out, bringing down Madman, one of the supported players. Yet another C4 comes out. JTC collecting that one. Just how many are they going to throw at them? JTC with the triple kill. Madman disconnects by the looks of it, but it's a quadra kill for JTC. I mentioned Oscar was the X factor for this team who can clutch out sometimes, but you can't forget about this man either. One more for himself onto Deepak will give him that ace in round number 3. We had an ace in the last game. I believe it was for, who was it? Capcan in like round number 10. It looks like we might get yet another one in this game too.
Might get another one in indeed, as Deepak right here hoping to challenge onto the white stairs. Is the last man standing with 40 seconds left, hoping to be peaked, but no one so far doing so, as a bit of a pre-fire, attempting to hit Deepak, not successfully hitting. Going on a passive angle. Yet someone to actually peek him. It might have actually been that they've already given up on him, considering there's low amount of time left, only 20 seconds. He could pick up the diffuser. There wouldn't be enough time for him to go for an actual execute. So he's going to be trying to go for frag hunting here. But as long as there's this one person of JTC upstairs, he's not going to be able to do much. He's just going to patiently wait. JTC will most likely hunt for the ace, and he will get it. There we have it. Granit with the ace in round number 3. The second one onto EUCL so far. And that is going to be proving us quite an explosive game.
From opening kill into C4 kill, into pistol kill, into the closing 1v1. Everything going the way of JTC there and bringing Granit their second round. That was all down to one man. And I commented yesterday, I believe it was in the game between C9 and Giants in APAC, that for the first 3 rounds, it all came down to individual players snagging 4Ks, 3Ks, whatever it might be. It wasn't really until you saw the multi-kill stepping away that you really got to see what teams were most capable of. So in that round there, although it's still down as a win for Granit, I wouldn't count that as a... It feels harsh to say, but I wouldn't count it as a successful defense purely because the number of C4s that came out earlier on, the attempts on their lives constantly coming against Lowland Lions and how well they dealt with it. I'd say they approached that right. You just couldn't account for JTC turning into an absolute freak in that round and killing everyone.
If most of your C4s fail, then you're going to have to rely onto one of the good, a good Scandinavian player to suddenly turn up here and be able to get some kills. Like,
tell you what,
this is still beyond me. He re-peaks with his C4 and no one was ready for it. And Astro dies by it.
I was about to say the same. I was like, imagine re-peaking with a C4. Oh, and look at the pre-fire as it comes around the corner as well. That's one of those where it's like, yeah, surely he's tucked in the corner. Nah, he's not. And then the pistol's out. They missed the shots. Man, I don't know what to say. Those second 2 trades coming out of Lowland Lions, not the best position to where those bullets were actually headed.
All right, well, 1-2 current score. Granit in the lead here on Cafe in round number 3. We are going over to round number 4. It's going to be up to Granit to try and extend on this lead. Make sure to going up on that 3-1 because Cafe, a 4-2 split for the defense. I would call it pretty decent. 3-3 would be, well, more favored so towards the attackers. It's the age-old story of Siege in any of its map but Coastline.
One of the maps that I really love seeing, actually. I think it's my favorite one to watch at the moment. And I don't know why. Maybe because I'm just sick and tired of Oregon by now. But I think for Cafe, because this feels like such a balance between either side as which one can win. And yes, it's a large map. There is quite a lot to clear for some teams. It's a really good measure and test when it comes to the timeliness of teams and how fast or at what pace they look to attack. And also how well they deal with roamers. And for Lowland Lions, there has been a very big double-down focus on dealing with those roamers, like we've now commented on a few times. All 5 members looking to push into JTC, and maybe not quite in the what's the word I'm looking for here? In the method I would have expected, but still failing to achieve the result they were after. At least the attempt was made there to put that focus and commit to that team style this game of going for roamers almost exclusively to make their job at executing a lot easier. What concerns me a little bit is they're putting a lot of focus on roamers, yet you have a nomad to help you deal with them. I almost would rather see them just drop that away and dedicate it to a jackal if you have to help you go after these roamers. Madman, catching panic to start things off.
And definitely if you have that nomad, you're more so thinking like, you're going to hit the sides and you're going to be using those nomads to block out your flanks, whilst if you use a jackal, that indicates active hunting of these roamers. As they are being deployed now, we yet again see the angle that Avich likes to use, hoping to gain an entry onto the site. But something that Granit also likes to use is the amount of C4s they bring. I believe we see one on Eastwood, we see one onto JC and D2, and 2 still in pocket. So that might be problematic as soon as they want to go for an actual execute. They need to hunt down these 2 players because otherwise we might not see that diffuser go down anytime soon from now. Unless there is 45 seconds left, they need to hit the site, but they're still busy with some vertical play, and it shows their priorities.
It did so in relatively good time as well. I always give that 1:30 mark as a good benchmark for when you need to be starting to get the kitchen ceiling opened up from above. Any slower than that and you run the risk of not having enough time to execute like we almost saw coming out the last time round we were on this site. Defect finds one at the very least as Leonski's going to drop in and no one knows. Apparently had zero idea who's going to even look for that kind of play. Picks one up for himself. Avich steps in for another one. Suddenly everything is into a 4 versus 2 despite this being a 5 versus 4 for the side of Granit not too long ago. Everything has swung back the other way and it is all down to Badger to make the impossible happen. Runs into an air jab and I feel with how things shape up here there is very little that he can get done.
the flashbang right after as well, and it's going to be Astro to clean it up. And well played here from Lowland Lions. They stayed calm even though they had little time, as apparently they're really confident in their skills right here, just jumping in at the last few seconds, knowing exactly where all these players are. And that is, you might think like, how? Because they weren't actively droning. No, but they have all these angles up vertically, so you know where they're not going to be, because you're going to be able to check those out. And if you have so many angles open, you know exactly where they won't be. You also know where they will be, because, you know, at some point you're just running out of space.
The big focus was making sure that drop through fireplace wasn't going to be contested as soon as they hit the ground, and it was a really well orchestrated drop with that opening kill coming straight through to the other side of Kitchen to start the swing and remove those key members from side on the side of Granit. Good stuff from Lowland Lions. That puts us at 2 apiece, so all is square. Does this give you the sense that another draw might yet be on the way here, Hap?
It's too early to tell, really. I think you always have to wait until the second half pops around to see how these teams really shape up against one another, because right now it might be back and forth, but you never know if that changes in the second half. Suddenly, Lowland Lions could basically, well, shit the bed as soon as they're going over to the defense, or Granit, you know, JTC could activate even more so after he just had his ace. Like, if his team members join him in that, suddenly it could be like, you know, Granit suddenly taking control. What about Lowland Lions? Suddenly they have like these impenetrable defenses. What do you do then? It's like we have to wait, really, until, you know, round number 9, so to say, before we can really call a draw.
Give it plenty of time. It's more the feel in your bones, Hap. That's what I'm looking for here. The way it feels like it's going. But who knows?
I mean,
give it time. We'll see how it sits at the half time, and maybe that's some form of suggestion for us, hey?
Lowland Lions is the Chaos Academy team at this point, so wouldn't be surprised.
Do you reckon they borrowed Fresh for a few days and just said, Fresh, please teach us the ways of chaos? And he goes, okay, lesson 1, play for draws at all times. And that's what that's it. That's all the advice Fresh has got to offer. All the knowledge he holds in his noggin is play for draws.
Little does he know that if he continues doing so, he will be facing relegation at the end of the season. So I wouldn't be listening too much to that kind of advice. Sorry, Fresh. But yeah.
Bless his soul. We talk a lot, and it's really frustrating because they're so much on the cusp of getting it right, but just keep on seeming to fall ever so slightly short. Their game against BDS, no indication, I think, of what that team can do. Although in that game, I did say at the time, this is a much improved Chaos. They just couldn't quite get the results that they faced off against 2 very good teams. Panics striking against Oscar. That's the Goyo removed, and I believe a C4 gone from the side of Granit. So less of those to play with. It's almost the same setup as before. In fact, it might be absolutely identical, where they are playing with 3 C4s on side. We all recall what happened not too long ago when it was JTC getting the ace on the upstairs, but it's about that vertical play that they're looking for here with those 2 C4s still on side.
The question is there still roamers available? As this ping will come in, it will be doing a lot of damage potentially. Now Eastwood just jumped onto the bench, but he's going to be under pressure now. We'll have to hide behind the bomb chassis as he falls back into the cocktail launch hall. Is Badger ready for a jump out? Question is, will this be heard? Will someone be watching it? Because there's 2 people on the rappel right here. Surely they're not going to leave that. No, there we go. They know exactly where he will be right now. And he will either have to move back up or he will have to go for the jump out, because downwards is not going to be an option with those 2 players down there with 60 seconds left.
We're trying to play with, absolutely. Something that's kind of becoming a topic in this game that we're keeping a very, very close eye on, for Lowland Lions. Pushing the way straight up. White's Deepak just trying to say, forget about this, I'm going to go aggressive. Beats Eastwood into the dirt here. Now it's a 5 versus 3. Numbers advantage on the side of Lowland Lions, and not too much to worry about as that plant is already going down. Panic's finding a double kill in this round, and with the diffuser hitting the dirt, hitting the ground even, this one is pretty much set up to be a flawless round, unless Badger can pull off an absolute miracle, of which I'm not too confident of. This round should be done and dusted, and Lowland Lions go 3-2 with a very decisive attacking round. And I think here it's a really good case as to why we saw Granit looking to play aggressive around the map. When they sat back there like they did just a second ago and let Lowland Lions come at them, Lowland Lions look so happy to execute onto a team and just catch members out in random corners when they aren't ready for them. You need to get up in their faces and try and disrupt them.
Really like what Deepak just did there, using that one concussion actually, because he knew there was a player in that bathroom. So it will explode if he walks out because the time detonation, of course, or it will explode if he knows someone is there. Well, it didn't explode, so he was just going to be able to just move up, get that kill onto the actual hallway, which allows for the rappel in because they knew the rest was completely safe, and that sets you up well for the plant. Like, that one concussion, there was so much information being gathered there by Lowland Lions. And even if he would get peaked at that very moment that he was going for that frag, the detonation would be there, and the concussion would also be affecting him, enabling Astro to actually go for a refrag there. So there's a lot more behind that one concussion, I think, than people might see.
Like I said to Jess yesterday on cast, it's all the small things that make it worth it sometimes. The small parts of Siege that transform rounds that aren't always the things that we spot out. Although that one probably wasn't as impactful as maybe it strikes it to be, it's sometimes, again, the amounting of these small things that can really count for a lot. Down into Reading and Fireplace, this is where we saw the heavy C4 setup coming out of Granit last time, where JTC had that incredible ace for himself back in round number 3. I'm sure they'll be gunning for a repeat of that round, maybe not so much built on JTC finding an ace, but on a team generally walking away with the win. Otherwise, they find themselves down 4-2 going into the half, and that is not a spot you want to go into with Lowland's Lion moving over to the defense.
Definitely not a way yet to see, and that is a good start. Oscar, a punch and pre-fire, able to take down a Vich. That is the Nomad gone. No more air jabs that they will have to worry about. Lowland Lions now with one man down will have to try and get themselves back into this round. Get these entries. We're going to have one less gun to work with. Let's see how that will affect them. How will Granit be able to pick up this round on the back of that one spawn peak we just saw?
That's Oscar doing something naughty. However, a couple of rounds ago, it played out almost the same way. Madman getting the opening kill onto Panics. And despite it being a 5 versus 4 for Granit, it was still a total turnaround by Lowland Lions. They didn't lose a single member after that point and managed to clear out every single member of Granit. So do not write them off yet. There is still far more to come in this round.
There we have it. He's trying to gain some information. Trying to find out whether or not there is players upstairs roaming. Set some utilities being pinged out. Verticalities are being created right now and will be followed up with some pre-fires of Onyx, and it's Astro to not be able to land that kill, but the drop through came through. That was good news for him, but he's moving over the angle he just created himself. He will be taken down as a result because of that. That is leaving Lowland Lions down 2 players now as they're trying to recover the current situation.
I'm surprised no more C4s singing out. I think I said that, and there was a couple of C4s that came singing out. No connections onto anyone just yet. Yep. We had the 1 and the 2nd coming out of the Mute and the Mozzie. Nothing found for either side, nothing found for either of them, with those C4s, but it's still 2 dead on the side of Lowland Lions. 70 seconds to play, so they've got time to breathe with here, but you still got to worry. All Granit have got to do is start playing for trades, and they should be in a very comfortable spot to be able to win this round. JTC popping out fine, and Deepak definitely helps them in that endeavor. 5 versus 2, Leonski and Panics to do it all. Something coming out of Panics, but it's still an awful lot more to do.
Still a lot to do indeed. Leonski still with that diffuser all the way upstairs, hoping to find the angle right here. He's going to be able to get that kill. JTC will fall by the stairs angle being held by Leonski. Instantly we're back in a 2-on-3 situation with Panics sneaking around right here. Might be able to find an angle onto, I believe that is Oscar. No, he gets tagged up himself and goes down. It's up to Leonski now. He's the last man standing in a 1-on-3 situation as Granit are putting up a solid round right here. He needs to go for a clutch. If he wants to make it, he will miss the first shot. It's Esports that will be able to get it. Another rehost will be called because of a sound bug, unfortunately, but it's going to be the halftime mark that we've just seen. 3-3. It's an even score count.
Tactical halftime break is what I'll be calling that one, I think, given how that half played out with both sides balancing it out perfectly at 3 rounds apiece. We've really got to see the flavour of both teams, and we were sat here after 2 rounds when we came into that first rehost, talking around how things had shaped up and said, we've seen Lowland Lions being very committed to their roam hunting game. They've succeeded in both of those rounds in that effect, and I think over the next few rounds, we really saw Granit start to dial things back a little bit. Less of a focus on roaming, sure, quite a bit of C4 play coming out in round number 4, where JTC stepped up, in round number 3. But after that point, things did slow down, and that's, I think, when we saw those 2 rounds come out of Lowland Lions, where Granit didn't so much look scared, but played back on site. They didn't play this roam game, they just sat there and let the Lowland Lions come at them, and that's when they started seeing success.
Definitely so, and you're looking at it, and actually there's quite a lot of C4s being brought up by Granit consistently. Shows really what they would like to do, and at that moment in time when you're the attacker, you're going to be walking above that site. You know, alright, it's a minefield basically. Any moment a C4 could pop through, or any moment a C4 could detonate underneath me, and we all know how that's going to be happening, as we saw a couple of those kills coming through. And that will basically sow some doubts in your heads as well, like, will it be safe where I'm going? Because I don't know what someone of this Nordic team will be doing below me. Like, will they be popping a C4 randomly? Like, will they detonate it right underneath my feet? Do they have information? Like, is there a Valkyrie cam, an Evil Eye, anything at this point? And yeah, it's like a lot of C4 play. Not that they found like one kill with each C4, but they still managed to get quite a couple.
Absolutely. And I think we kind of look back at the last game and touch on players like Hayes, who had really good success with the C4s in the early rounds back on Clubhouse. In this game here, it's been more attempts, I'd say, rather than dedicated kills coming from it. Outside of Oscar's, of course, wonderful one that landed on the window ledge and secured them a kill from there. But let's talk a little bit around what we've seen in that first half happen. Speculate. It is all speculation at this point around what we're going to see in the second half. Of course, the conversation around the Roman game and the controlling of those Romans was something that we touched on in the first half. Given the team's now changed sides, that might be a very different story. What are you expecting to see from Lowland Lions? Are you expecting aggression out in the map like we saw from them back in the old days? Or do you reckon that's become more controlled now that we're seeing Panics and Astro on side?
It's hard to tell because normally we had next one who would be the pistol spawn peeker, just going out with P12 on the Jaeger, punching open a window and trying to get a kill from that. And after that, he would say his famous words, which were meow. Don't ask me why. He always just followed up with a meow. And I'm not sure if we're going to be seeing the same thing. Of course, I know there is aggression in the likes of Deepak, in the likes of Vich that they can use towards, well, either spawn peeking or just running around headlessly upstairs trying to gain some kills. But I'm not sure what to expect, really, because we haven't seen this lineup play yet. I haven't seen this lineup play yet either. It's just the core that I'm familiar with, and how Astra and Panics will fit in on the defense. I think there's only one thing we can do, and it's just wait. Sorry, it's boring, though.
That. So talk to me, speculate on the second half for me. Let's just wait. Okay, my man, top analysis.
A bunch of words.
Into it.
But let's wait.
you threw some out, to be fair. Yeah, no, it is one of those things, again, where it is the first day. It's like I said back at the start as well, all those making predictions around, here's how CL's going to end. If you're predicting today's games, fair enough, but predicting the whole thing, a little bit preemptive, guys, I think it's fair to say. We're back in just a moment. I'm keen to see how the second half plays out. It will be Granit going across onto the attacking side of Cafe. I think the sounds in my ears suggest that we might be back in just a moment. For them, I think with what I've seen from them across the majority of the season, attack has been where we've seen most teams having a lot of success. I think when you get to determine the pace you choose to line up, you have a lot more comfort. Defense, it comes down to how hard the other team can hit you, and we know how dangerous Lowland Lions can be. We spoke about them earlier on, back when they were known as Diffuse Kids, and the terror they brought into the last season of Challenger League, EUCL Season 11. We'll see if they can deal with it. Madman, to kick things off, is going to start off on the Monty. So maybe it was more of a bait back in round one from Lowland Lions, but here at least, Granit is saying no. The Monty train is underway, and we're sticking with it in round number one.
I'm going to be using it straight away and might force some adaptations from Lowland Lions from coming rounds. And you see the beautiful spawn peek again of Oscar that basically shut down a Vich from the get-go. Put down the Lions, one man down. And I think that's a really important part, because if you looked at their executes, especially top floor, they really needed every single one of their members. You had two repelled up on the windows, one was in his skylight, you had two people coming up the white stairs. So every single man was needed. And just missing out. Ooh, you see that, Cam? They spoil it as well. Is he going to follow it up? I don't think he is. Deepak? No, he's not. Okay. I was going to say. Bit risky.
So slightly. But at least it's given them the option to do this if they want to in a short amount of time, and Deepak might fancy it after a short while. Depends as to whether or not there is a drone watching around these parts in case it does become a thing. Really all it's going to take for Granit here is to get to the top of the building, drop in with the Monty, and then start your push forwards from there. I just worry that if a member gets caught out from a run out from someone like Deepak, it's going to hurt them, but nope, looks like they are all indeed safe on the top floor. Has taken 45 seconds to do so without losing anyone, but at least this is where the attack can begin. And with the Monty leading the charge, you can afford to take more risks. You can push forward without having to drone out every single room, apart from, of course, watching out the corners. Because with the Monty with the shield on his face, there's not really a whole lot you can do to stop him just parading his way forwards. Let's not forget that once again, though, this is a reading take, so it's going to be a case of having to deal first with what's going on the top floor. And that's why you're seeing Madman starting to steamroll his way forwards towards Panics.
Definitely so. We see Madman on that shield just pushing through, being the front line. The smoke grenade is already being cooked up right here by Panic. So the ID might be here to try and isolate that Monty, as Deepak and Vich will be playing from below. They have these C4s available. That comes the double kill!
God!
Deepak able to show up right here. Pre-fire of JTC is going to be able to land the kill. No response yet. But what a C4 that was!
And wasn't even just down to the C4, it was the team play as well, with Vice shotgunning out the hole to make sure it could sail up and collect 2 kills. Looks like the side of Granit had absolutely no idea what was coming. They do strike back, mind you. They bring down Vice, they bring down Astro. It's balancing back out at 3 apiece, but you have lost the centerpiece of this composition. The Monty is gone. You don't have the smokes to play with anymore. You're going to have to make it work by playing some good old-fashioned Siege here, where it's guns up and trying to frag the living hell out of each other.
Trying to find out if there is actually a player behind that shield, and as that C4 came up, they're well aware now. Leonski, the last man standing upstairs, is going to be very important for this setup here. We'll be able to get 1 kill, drops a diffuser, goes for the second one, but will fail to do so. And that means that the shield will still be up. A 2-2 situation now with 28 seconds left. Panics onto the white stairs, is hurting, well, basically punching his own barbed wire. And you might be thinking, why? But both members are upstairs, and that means that he's not giving away his own sound, because the sound goes both ways. A good kill coming in from JTC there, taking a lot of damage, but will be able to survive. And as Panic sneaks himself into the laundry room, he might be able to go for a hero play here, but it looks like it's going to be the other bomb site. Is he going to be aware? Oscar is holding the feet. There we have it. Kill will be picked up. It's Granit Gaming with the first attack win right away against the Lowland Lions.
It looks so good, and you net a double C4 kill like that, and you just think, the Monty's gone. We've killed a second with him as well. This is our dream state. There's no way we should be able to lose it from here. But sadly, when JTC is striking back and finding himself a 3k here, his second round of high impact given in round 3, there was an ace from him. It's something worth shouting home about. That does put them in the lead, at least momentarily, here on the side of Granit. And last time we saw that was at the end of round 3 when they set up at 2-1. So these teams have never been more than 1 round apart at any given time. We'll see if that can continue, or if we're going to see the Lowland Lions secure a round and keep themselves in the game. It could end up being a 5-3, which would not be a pretty situation. Kitchen going to be where this next site sets us up.
Kitchen coming out. Monty again on the board. We'll be seeing a total of 3 C4s coming out on the likes of Lowland Lions. Valkyrie cameras, evil eyes, mute jammers. Going to be what is necessary to stop them from just moving in, but you have that big shield you can use that doesn't really care about a mute jammer. You can just walk through. You're a walking drone in that case. That's exactly how they used him the last time around.
A walking drone.
Walking drone.
This is the play in the replay look now. So you have a Vice ready to shotgun hatch out. Straight away that C4 comes singing up. They have no idea what's going on. You even have one of them stepping back into it at the same time, and it's just so beautifully placed that it kills out both. That's like the dream start to a round, like I said. And a good bit of teamwork being brought through there. Definitely more of a risk, I'd say, to have 2 of you playing on the roam like that. But even on the roam, you're only playing downstairs together. You're hardly looking to cause too much grief, because you run back to the right-hand side and you're immediately back inside of sight. So I like the team play coming out of Lowland Lions there to secure that for them.
Lucky for JTC, he just managed to get himself into the bathroom. Otherwise, there could have been a triple C4 from just that one. That would have been something. Also saved them the round, considering JTC was able to pick up some huge frags right after. And because of that, Granit able to take that win. Very importantly. And right now, they're 1 round up. Start being droned out.
Playing behind the pulse suggests that you're probably going to see more C4 based plays coming out of them, because now it feeds them that extra information, along of course with the Valkyrie and the Maestro. It's a lot of intel, and a good 3 C4s to be playing behind screams to you the kind of gameplay we should be expecting to see, given it is that downstairs defense. There should be C4 Kingdom coming through, and Deepek agrees, establishes the new empire for Lowland Lions here, getting a kill onto Eastwood. And although not the most critical of kills, you have removed the only hard breach here on the side of Granit. And yes, you can attack this site without any hard breach, depending on what they've reinforced and where. It's still going to make your life hell.
It is indeed going to make it hard, and Panic's right now on that pulse. We'll be trying to get some scans out. One is on the white stairs. You might want to be careful, because the entirety of Freezer has not been reinforced. And as they're coming over right now to actually go for, well, what seems like the hatch. The hatch has already been opened. Did he just hit him there? No, okay. I was going to say, it looked like he was about to hit Badger. Badger able to survive. As he starts opening up with the flooring right now, will be possibly followed up with some C4s. And here we have it. The pulse is guiding it. He's going to be getting some pins. And there we have it. The kill onto Badger. And that's exactly the danger you have to be worrying about when there's a pulse on the board and when it's downstairs. As JTC puts himself a good drone on the board, this might indicate into a quick drop to come through to try and, well, basically get that plant down. And as they're inside right now, they are aware. JTC gets swung on and taken down. Mapman wants to go for a push here. Needs to go for a hip fire, but he's not going to be able to land it. Leonski will be able to pick up that kill, a flawless one from Lowland Lions to reply against the, well, basically godlike comeback from Granit Gaming in the previous round. And we keep on going back and forth so far.
And notes just quite literally for this round say, oof. Flawless round, 2 C4 kills, kill someone as they drop into freezer, kill the Monty in a 1 versus 1. Big oof, my dude. And that does balance things out at 4 apiece, rather than going to that 5-3 scoreline we suggested could be a possibility. Next up we head to is going to be Bar and Cocktail on the top floor. Haven't yet seen the side of Lowland Lions defend this site, so I'm keen to see what hijinks they can bring out for us. Looking at the lineup, it's suggesting it's going to be a very similar style one, potentially 3 C4s coming out, a couple of sets of intel with the Valkyrie and the Maestro on side. They could just do it all over again and play behind those C4s to the side of them.
All right. They indeed saw the C4s coming out of Granit Gaming. They're like, we too can play this game. Don't worry about it. Bring it out in massive force. And it's something I'm basically missed. I haven't seen this much C4 play really in EUL APAC yet this season. Just consistently bringing 2 or 3 C4s and actually like hunting the kills with it. Beautiful. Feels like we're back in like year 1 Siege almost.
I wonder how much of that comes down to the fear of the yellow ping. Like knowing if you're playing on the roam and a drone manages to spot you from the room across and they just keep on pinging where you are. Like, you can get isolated very, very quickly if you aren't careful. So I think that might be part of the reason why you haven't seen too many EUL teams doing that. But who knows, maybe it's just a stylistic change and teams are starting to lean away from that style of play. Clearly the Lowland Lions are not. Nice camera outside from Deepak here, gives them full coverage on what's going on towards the north and the east. And oh my god, please tell me he tries to go for this. I think he might be a little bit too late now. No. But at least he knows what's going on. He knows 3 are on the north.
Yeah, he was going to go for an attempt at wallbang through the window right there. Sometimes you may be able to hit someone through it. But hey, at least he's going to be able to get the complete north side on cam now. Not that it will give you much, because there's literally no window there that you will be contested from the side. But you also have the complete east side under control with that one. And that means that if they're trying to go for a similar kind of setup as that they did themselves, they're going to have full information out on those players.
Peaceful start with nothing outside of that information being collected to suggest there's any ill intent from Lowland Lions towards Granit. The melee starting off on the roof, it looked like they were in the right sort of spot, but most of them now chose to go down for the rappel out towards the west side. So it's going to be the second floor take coming through. Trying to bust out what's going on the second floor rather than focusing straight away on the top floor seems to be a viable tactic, but for me, you just don't want to walk into those C4s, and I imagine now you've identified how many C4s there are, you just don't want to get yourself hung into too many. Leonski going to pick up Eastwood though, that Hibana going down first again, and potentially C4 was coming out, but no one being snagged away by that.
Alphite being flashed where he's trying to get himself into safety there. Luckily for him, Madman just went onto the roof, and that means he will be recovered as ping will be coming through Oscar, knowing now that someone was being picked up. Means one is on 20 HP or lower as Leonski gets tagged, just ever so slightly. And Granit Gaming now have, well, somewhat control of the piano. They have full control of Cigar. That's going to be allowing them to at least start making some moves now onto this top floor bomb site. Oscar, however, picked up by Astro. Diffuser dropped again. Not that it's a big deal. Nice shot being called, because it indeed was so. And 55 seconds left, and now the road clear starts coming in. Pretty confused about that one.
Don't think Oscar even saw him, so yeah, completely understandable. And for Madman, again, they know the fear of trying to go for a plant with C4s in hand.
Oh no.
Well, that's a Deepak just looking to cause trouble here. Surely he knows, they both know where the other is. It's turned into a bit of a 1 versus 1. Now it comes down to Madman, gets shot from above, up by Astro of all people. That 2v1 coming through, and a good save onto Deepak there means he can pull back to site. It's a 5 versus 2. There are a few low health members on the side of Lowland Lions, but this round feels like it should be theirs to put in the bag and pull them forwards into 5 and 4.
Yeah, indeed, as 2 kills now come through. Astro and Panics will be taken down indeed by JTC, but keep in mind there's still a C4 available on the board for Deepak as he gets a triple kill. Is he going to ace yet again? Don't think so. He definitely is all to as he gets a quad kill. The diffuser is still down, I believe, as Deepak dropped him earlier, and there is a C4 available. There is Chems on site as well. He needs to go for it now. Is the C4 going to land? That is the question. There comes Deepak. There comes the C4. There comes the bang. And that is the round for Lowland Lions. You're going to be able to pick it up after JTC almost, again, manages to get an ace.
Oh my word, that's 3 rounds now. He's almost got away with pulling off something like that. And Avaish, he likes talking some rubbish sometimes and telling Astro to shut up, but he is correct. JTC is cray-cray. Avaish, that's too far now, man. Sit, stop. 3 rounds that we've seen JTC pop and drag his team towards the finish line. I touched earlier on after round 3 that we haven't yet seen enough, and I didn't want to count round 3 as an air quotes good defense because it came down to one player popping off. Admittedly, Lowland Lions wanted to turn that into 5 separate 1v1s. Not the best call when you can play for a trade, but it is what it is. He's now gone on to look and do that in 3 potential rounds, but here didn't quite manage to catch it out as Deepet was patient, and that Astro save earlier on in the round, as Madman tried to contest onto Deepet, that pretty much won the round. I always pull the back to the small things in Siege making the difference, and that 1v1 was a great example of it.
It was definitely a great example of it. And right now, we are going into round number 10 with Lowland Lions 1 ahead. We keep on trading these around. As they just managed to win 2 consecutive rounds and are now going back towards that. This is second floor, right? My Dutch brain cannot handle this. I think you guys in the UK also use like ground floor and then first floor for the second floor, right?
We do. Yeah, it's an American thing, I think, to say first floor is ground floor, then second floor, then third floor. But truthfully, at this stage, my mind has been so twisted by how much Siege we're casting, I'm kind of like...
That is true. Cafe always gets to me, though.
What's right and what's wrong anymore?
Because, like, every map has a basement. This one does not. Which is, like, the confusing thing, right? Or at least a lot of maps. Well, because it doesn't have a basement. And most of the maps do. And then I just lose the counting because I go from 0 to up instead of from 3 to down, you know? Maybe it sounds like a me problem.
It sounds like a big time you problem, Hap, I won't lie. To us, basement would be like -1 rather than 0.
Yeah, it's like basement, and from above that is 1, and then 2, and then 3. You know?
What if there's 2 layers of basement?
There's no 2 layers of basement. Which map has 2 layers of basement?
You've been to hotel, not in this game, in general.
Yeah, okay, I get that.
I'm talking about buildings in general.
Then I just lose my mind. It's I do not count further than -1. It's impossible.
And this is how you break a Dutchman. Let's see though if Granit can break this hold that's been going on now. It's been 3 rounds in a row where we've seen the opening kill go the way of the Lowland Lions, and admittedly 2 of those rounds have fallen to them. Round number 7, as we saw, went the way of Granit. Madman, he hears me. He says, Des, you're absolutely right. It's time to break the curse. Panics, gets caught out bright and early by Madman on the rappel.
There's also the smoke on. That is a very painful sight for the likes of Lowland Lions, and that is going to be a lot less of delay that you're going to have available to you as the defender. Badger tries to hop over a drone, will be for long though, but he got the information out of it, and that is the valuable part. C4 will be missing. As JTC took out a cam, knew exactly what was coming. As now Leonski Des being hunted has to be careful to not lose his head from that rappel. He's so dangerous. Why do you keep playing there? It's like such big... Oh, there comes the C4. Second one to come in. There's a lot of pressure gone suddenly. Madman will be able to pick the kill.
Oh my god.
Followed up by Leonski, who goes for the trade. And that is going to be a 3-on-3 situation we have right now with 1 minute left. And he's the last man standing upstairs. So the likes of Granit will be going for the hunt because, well, Leonski's still up there. He needs to fall because otherwise they're not going to be able to do much about it.
Back and forth and back and forth and back and forth and back. They just keep on trading those blows in those first couple of minutes until now it's somewhat settled just for a few seconds whilst they all start to square up for what is going to be, no doubt, an explosive end to this round. Eastwood having a bit of a firefight through the floor but can't connect anything. And surely someone gets caught out in that head-to-head. The answer, absolutely not. 30 seconds to go, still 6 men left alive on the field. This one could get pretty explosive. Here we go. Oscar with 1 onto Deepak, puts us into a 3 versus 2 for Granit. Leonski taking a trade onto White Stairs, yet not able to find the kill. Same story carries across for Granit, mind you. Avaish with a wonderful flick up onto Eastwood, who's pushing into reading door. That's the diffuser down. There's got to be a push forward now from Badger and Oscar. Otherwise, this round is dusted, and Lowland Lions go to match point. There we go. Badger striking onto Leonski. Avaish all by himself. He's got the diffuser by his feet. All he's got to do is not die, but no, they push from 90. Granit collect that kill, and I said to you after 4 rounds earlier, Hap, are we heading for a draw? It's really starting to feel like it, as both teams currently sit at 5 rounds apiece.
It's definitely looking like that would be the second draw of this group. As the previous round, well, match, also went into a draw. The question is, however, who will be the first team to go to 6, because they will have the least amount of pressure going into that round number 12, as they are not the ones fighting for any points at that moment in time. Well, they're still fighting for points, but one is still better than none. As right now, Kitchen will be brought up again. Granit Gaming with a very good recovery yet again. I still don't get the defuse was dropped and it was picked out underneath a fighter's side. Like he was watching up, of course, but the defuse got picked up, and I don't think he actually realized that.
Attackers need to locate and defuse
Big
bombs.
whoopsie.
Hate to touch on a couple of members here since the rehost, of course, 4 rounds back, I believe it was now. Currently got Eastwood sat 0 and 4 and Panic sat 0 and 3. Very minimal contribution from both players since we've came back into the game, and I'll give a bit of a lean to both. Panic's was the opening death at the start of the last round, Eastwood in both of the 2 previous rounds. So it hasn't exactly been the easiest affair for them, but although it's only the start of CL, let's not forget what waits at the end of this road. The team that finishes in first place auto-promoted into the European League. The one who's in second, who falls down to the playoffs, they all find themselves in a spot to be able to compete for that second spot, where they will face off against the 9th place EUL team when it comes to the EU finals, I believe in December.
Attackers are moving out.
I'm pretty sure you'd rather avoid that trial by fire of going up against the 9th place EUL team if you can help it, Hap.
I think you do so indeed. You want to make sure that you close it out in the Challenger League, and a good thing to add here is that the top 4 out of each group will be entering an elimination bracket, meaning that this first win is also valuable, because 4 out of 6 out of your group will be moving through, and if you're able to put down a win on the board straight away, you already have a big edge up on one of those opponents, one of those 6, who will be below you.
It's not quite the last round just yet, but we are guaranteed to see all 12 rounds in this game. So with this being the penultimate one, Granit starting things off on the horizontal attack, not even bothering to look above for now, at least for 3 other members. Their focus instead is going to be on taking the north side, pushing into restaurant and trying to take control of the red hallway. That was a C4 attempt coming out of Panics, but found no one. Oscar and Badger outside the front door, not going to be caught by it at all.
That was a valiant attempt right there, because he knew people were out there, but they were hiding behind the pillars, so no real damage being done. Long angles are being watched here by Granit Gaming, but there's also going to be like a 3 to 4 man halt towards this side as Panics gets flashbanged down. That should be the direct move from Granit Gaming to try and capitalize on that, but JTC instead will fall. Panics able to pick up that kill right after you said he was yet to find someone. Find yet another one as Leonski will be able to pick a Badger. So it's looking like a good round right here for the Lowland Lions, as they're not even able to get through the front door yet. But as I say that, Madman on that roam clear able to pick up 1 kill. And he's going to be looking for the second one. It is going to be Deepak that is walking around the area. He's going to be able to get the spot down, but is he going to be able to get the kill? That's the important one though, because he gave away his position. I mean, goes for a complete flank. Campbell spots him though, so they're going to know the around position where he's going to be coming from. And if Leonski gets yet another one, it's a 2-on-4 situation now for Granit.
It's very similar to what Granit did to Lowland Lions back in the first half, just wasting their time on these upstairs roams. And even though initially they positioned themselves to go for attack through front door and go in horizontally, they've had to send someone upstairs. They had to send Madman to go and contest at least a little bit. And he really can't collect too much for his team. 4 versus 2 and only 45 seconds to go with no vertical control. This is looking really dicey now if you're on the side of Granit.
And they know at least on the likes of Lowland Lions that one of them is going to be a bot, but he will be taken care of with that C4 because they keep on coming in. And Panics closes it off with the P10 Roni. Oscar will fall. And the Lowland Lions will be onto match point right now. They have one opportunity to close this into 3 points and be the leader of their groups. Or they will be joining Windstrike and, what was it called? Fedora? Yeah, Fedora. Onto the group
Milady.
of ones. Milady.
It is interesting to think this is just his first day as well. There's still so much more to come across the next few weeks to see how these teams develop and who really pulls themselves ahead. I mentioned a few times already all the predictions that came out. I thought, well, give it a day at least to see what they're all made of. And given all these games have been so close and so down to the wire so far, it's looking just as hard as it was at the start of the day to put a wedge between any of the 4 teams we've seen so far. If Granit take this one, that's 2 draws to kick things off and all 4 teams looking like they're going to next week on even footing.
Would you reckon we're going to 6 draws today?
No.
That would be something.
Let's not, please.
I agree, let's not do that. But it would be something to have 6 draws coming out in the opening game of Challenge League. Would show how evenly matched these teams are in the national leagues. And it basically removes a lot of the doubters who were saying, like, we're not going to be getting the most competitive CL season like this. Well, just look at the scores so far. It's 6-6, it's 6-5 currently. These 2 games seem to be highly competitive.
was speaking to Milos before this all started, actually, and was just
10
like,
seconds remaining.
you know, it almost feels very kind of nationalistic that everyone's kind of like, oh, well, I've got my team from my region, or there's some players from a region there. And he was saying, it's, you know, nationalism is when it's kind of blind, when there's no genuine reason. When it comes around to some soft competition like this, it's totally fine. So I guarantee you, once we see Eminem playing later, if it ain't me, it's going to be many of the people spamming the living death out of things like UK Massive in the chat. You've got a lot of fun copy bastards to look forward to for all the fans from a given region when it comes to their teams playing in future weeks.
We already had it
Right
just
now,
now.
it's just
Hook on
cat
Zeus.
jam.
Well, yeah, but at the start of the game, we had the Dutch at it again. I'm pretty sure now I say it, you know, Dutch, they will be able to come at these copy passes again. They just need to be activated every now and then.
Save them into a little text file, put it on your desktop, and you can just change teams at the whim.
All right. Some good chem coming out right here. Also some good information about a player, the Kali of Madman, who is just standing there. And Astro is thinking about a potential jump out. I can tell you that. As he's on those white stairs around the window. A fight's going up on that drone again. Astro now... There we have it. Deepak just shot him down. Running out from the bakery door. And that is going to be your entry. That is going to be a Kali gone as well. No more big sniper rifle to play with. And JTC goes on the hunt now. They realize, okay, that was not according to plan. We need to go for a bit of hunt, and here we have it. Deepak able to potentially go for a second one. Will he hear him? Good, there he sees him at least. He's not going to be able to get the kill. JTC able to pick up that kill. The man is absolutely onto something as he wins that gunfight that he shouldn't have won.
Onto his last leg, he's on about 3 HP as well. I agree, Deepak, like he saw him, dude. JTC's flick then must have been genuinely insane to flick whilst being sprayed out at that range by Deepak and still connect the kill back the other way. Unbelievable. Small misplay by Deepak, but a brilliant gunfight coming out of JTC puts us at 4 apiece. I'm kind of glad that you started talking when you did, by the way, before Madman died, so I was totally going to be like, we haven't seen this yet. They've got some planned here. It's something secret, clearly, because they haven't used Carly yet so far. And then he gets domed like that off the bat, and I'm like, well, he's got 0 impact now. That's it. Round done.
0 impact indeed, and here we have it. The X-Caros being used are being taken down because the Mew Gemmer is there, and there's also a Evil Eye that will be shutting them down just bit by bit. And that means that their X-Caros are not going to have any use. They will have to force themselves through the B bomb site door. Cigar, that is. Oscar goes in, and I believe it was Badger that follows. It's going to see with a hot breach, but he will be taken down. So at least they're going to have that one going for them. Badger will go down as well. They're being sprayed down as we speak. It's a response to come through, an airdrop to go off, but it's the Lowland Lions to take the first win as Astro takes the final kill. And they will be on the top of the board so far, with only one match in the group to be played today.
Unlucky, I guess. I appreciate the intent. I appreciate the desire of wanting to rush through Cigar into the bar and try to clean things out, to clean house before Lowland Lions knew what was going on. But you saw they were prepared. They called out JTC trying to get himself in on the rappel. They couldn't catch anyone else out from beyond that point, and Lowland Lions just collapsed in. Almost, I think, because of the fact that there was no Carly on site, they knew they couldn't deal with that Maestro camera, so they had no hope of getting that wall open. Unlucky, I guess, but a really good game between both of those teams. Another 12-round fixture to start the day off. That gives you a lot of promise of what we're going to see from all 4 of these teams going into future weeks.
It does give you a lot of promise, and indeed, as the Kali was taken out, they weren't even able to create these angles because there was also Mew Gemmers on the spot. So the Kali being removed definitely hurted them a lot there. So not too sure why it was, you know, just droning in such a, well, open position. But then again, who expects someone to run out from the bakery door right there? But let's throw it over to the analysts to talk about this game.
Yeah, let's talk about this game and this game indeed. GOG